Tracking with Uncle Joe. Every spring, Dan and I visit Uncle Joe at his cabin. On this visit, Uncle Joe has a plan for us to go tracking. We set off to hunt for animal tracks in the mud and melting snow. Dan and I follow Uncle Joe up the road. Sap drips into buckets, tap, 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 as we pass a row of maple trees. Uncle Joe tells us that there will be lots of animals hidden around us. Our goal is to hunt for animal tracks, but it will be even better if we can spot an animal itself. We follow Uncle Joe to the willow on the bank of the pond. The spring frogs sing and croak from the mud banks next to Uncle Joe's rowboat. I spot tracks in the mud. "Those are duck prints, Joan," Uncle Joe tells me. A duck has webs in its toes. The webs help the duck to swim well. We see a duck with 6 ducklings in tow floating in the pond. Past the pond is an embankment. Dan spots a hole in the sand on the bank. "This is a fox den," Uncle Joe tells us. "Is the fox in it?" Dan asks as he tiptoes up to the hole. "Here are tracks," I tell Dan. "The fox must be out of his den." I suspect the fox is inspecting us from a hidden spot, just as we are inspecting his den, Uncle Joe says. As we enter the hollow, our steps disrupt a rabbit. When a rabbit hops, its big back legs hop in front of its front legs. So a rabbit track has back feet prints in the front and front feet prints in the back. We follow Uncle Joe into a stand of oak trees. Squirrels run up the trunks of the oaks as we pass. Dan spots little squirrel tracks in the snow. Just then, Uncle Joe spots 2 deer. One is a buck and one is a doe. The buck and the doe jump a log and run across the road. "That buck was a big fellow," Uncle Joe says. On the trip back, we see a crow that had just flown up to the top of a maple tree. Uncle Joe shows us the best track yet. It is a track left by the crow's wings as he lifted up from the snow. Back in the cabin, we discussed the tracks and animals we spotted: a rabbit, ducks, a crow, a buck and a doe, frogs, and a fox. But we never spotted the fox itself, Dan moans. "We can hunt for the fox and its tracks on your next visit," Uncle Joe tells us. "That will be fun." In this story, we're focusing on the long O vowel sound that sounds like O, but it's spelled in different ways, like O-E, toe, O, as in Joe, O-W, snow, O, as in snow. And then we have the open syllable O, like in go. There are a couple more highlights on this page to find the long O sound. O-W, snow O, like at the end of follow. There's Joe again. O-A, boat O, like in the word road. And O-W, snow O, like in the word row, a row of maple trees. Only 2 on this page, Joe and goal. Our goal is to hunt for animal tracks. There are quite a few on this page. O, follow, O, Joe, O, willow, that's this kind of tree over here, a willow tree. They like to grow by water. O, croak, like the frog sound, croak. O, Joe. And this one has two. O, O. Row, boat. Rowboat. Here's a vowel consonant E one, a V-E. O, those. Those. O, Joan. That's that girl's name. O, Joe. O, toes. A duck has webs in its toes. Just two here. O, toe, and O, float, floating. We see a duck with 6 ducklings in tow floating in the pond. In tow. This one isn't spelled like the toe on your foot. This one is the kind of tow like a tow truck. And when she has 6 ducklings in tow, that means they're following her along just like a car would follow behind a tow truck. This one is a vowel consonant E. O, whole, whole. Joe, O, 2 syllables, tip, toes, tiptoes. And there's hole again. Dan spots a hole in the sand on the bank. Just one for both of these pages, OW like in snow, hollow. As we enter the hollow, our steps disrupt a rabbit. So the rabbit heard them coming and it bothered him, so he got up and ran. It disrupted him. OW like snow, follow. Joe, OA like in boat, oak, oaks, snow. We follow Uncle Joe into a stand of oak trees. These are all oak trees. These words both have OE like in toe. OE, toe, O. Joe and D-O. Doe. That's a female deer, the doe. This one's a buck. Doe, road, fellow. That buck was a big fellow, Uncle Joe says. 5 of the words on this page have OW in them, like in snow. Crow, flown, flown, shows, crows, snow. On the trip back, we see a crow that had just flown up to the top of a maple tree. Dan is doing a little bit of complaining on this page. He's kind of disappointed that they never spotted the fox. They didn't get to see the actual fox. We have crow, doe, and at the end, Dan moans. He's complaining. But we never spotted the fox itself.